Many people who aspire to be better or at least decent at swimming must know the basics of freestyle. Freestyle is the easiest and most basic stroke in swimming, and we are going to explain the biomechanics of it in order to have a better stroke, which will result in a faster time. The first thing we'll be talking about is force and torque. How is force and torque used with forward momentum? First off, force and torque are basically the same thing, but we will get to that later. An example of force being created is when the legs are scissor kicking through the water with your toes pointed and slightly bent legs. The energy that you exert while kicking allows you to gain more force and therefore move more efficiently through the water. Another act of force when swimming freestyle is making a cup with your hands and diving them into the water at an angle to prevent drag, which we will discuss later, then pulling the water back. This motion causes you to push the water behind you and propelling you forward. As you can see, this swimmer is doing scissor kick with his legs and diving his hands into the water, not slapping them. This is an example of good form. Now let's watch a swimmer with bad form. The hands are slapping the surface and not diving straight in, and the legs are not scissor kicking fast enough, along with the toes not being pointed. Oh my, I wish we made this video back when he was learning how to swim.
Torque and force are similarly related. Torque is basically force, but with the assets of rotational forces. For example, when you are diving your hand into the water and then removing it to start the next stroke. This is torque. Torque is the rotational force that you are doing. A way to improve your torque is to extend your hand and move your torso with every stroke. Like the swimmer before, following the previous 4 steps, this swimmer maintains the good form and is rotating his torso with every stroke and extending his arms. Now, let's return to the bad swimmer and see if he is at least doing this. Nope! He is keeping his upper body very stiff and not allowing his arms to extend to their full potential. When will this guy learn? Next, it's time to talk about drag. Can drag be eliminated completely? No! No matter what you do, drag is always being produced. So even the best swimmer in the world will have a little bit of drag. In fact, the faster you go, the more drag is produced. That is why the faster you go, you must try to keep your body in a position that creates as less drag as possible. A position like that would be slightly turning your head with your stroke when you breathe, when you breathe air, not lifting your head straight out of the water when you breathe also. When swimming freestyle, keep your head down and look at the bottom of the pool. When you keep your head down, it also keeps your legs up, which results in an easier scissor or flutter kick. If you keep your head up or lift it up too far, when you're trying to breathe it will cause your legs to sink down and make more drag. It's important to decrease surface area because surface area slows you down, because the more surface area you have, the more drag. Do not look at what is in front of you because the surface area of your face and the water hitting it will slow you down. The swimmer now is showing a great example of keeping your face down and breathing with each arm stroke. It's important to have good front crawl technique because if you slap your arms out into the water, it makes more drag. His body is a straight line, his legs are not sinking down, and he's maintaining perfect scissor kick in the good swimmer. Now let's see what the opposite of this would be, returning to the bad swimmer. He's looking ahead of himself, raising his hand, which is causing his legs to sink down and increase his drag. When will this swimmer learn?
What also has a slight impact on drag is friction. How can friction be decreased? Friction is affected by the different mini obstacles that the water has to glide over in order to get behind you. Shaving your legs, wearing a swim cap, and wearing a tighter suit can all decrease friction. Finally, something both of these swimmers can agree on. Even the bad swimmer has all of his equipment, and so does the experienced swimmer.
When swimming, in order to float, you need buoyancy. Buoyancy is the force that allows you to float. Humans are naturally very buoyant, so both the bad and good swimmer have good buoyancy because they are both not sinking. If you inhale a lot of air, you will float, but if you exhale a lot of air, you will sink because it changes your buoyancy levels.
Thank you for watching our very informational video.
This video is sponsored by